Cosmetic family.
Thanks for joining us on the Cosmetic Podcast.
Cosmetic means being a person or thing that gives rise to a phenomenon that is dynamic or energizing.
We're tackling topics and telling the truth.
I'm Roderick Ross.
I'm Keith Vincent.
So today we are talking about I said what I said, right? This whole idea of words and demystifying, right? And defining some of these frequently used, controversial, or sometimes ambiguous terms that you hear floating around and you're not necessarily sure whether you should ask or should you know what that means or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, because we use words and, like, I give you one.
Okay.
So for addict, right?
Okay.
So we say addict, and because that's what we're accustomed to saying.
Right.
But really, we should probably use something like person with substance use disorder.
Yeah. Because, I think when people put these words out and then they kind of just latch on and everyone starts to use it, I think sometimes they inadvertently miss that words are quite possibly the singularly most powerful force available to humanity. We can choose to use the force constructively and use words of encouragement, or we can be haphazard about it and use words that are destructive, right? And that cause despair. Like, words have energy, they have power. You can sway people, you can move people, you can stop people, you can push people to go. And I think sometimes we forget that, and so we're just haphazard and we put these words out there and then they grab on, and it's really hard to switch that.
But see, what I learned was sticks and stones may break your bones, but they say words never hurt.
That's a lie.
That's a lie.
That's a lie.
Straight from the pit.
And whoever said it, I tell them that's a lie. Because words absolutely hurt. You get the right person putting together, man, say that thing will cut you deep.
Because when someone hits you with a stick, it may break a bone, but that bone is going to heal.
It's going to heal. It don't got memory.
But words,
man,
once they seeped down to the soul, and they stay there and get to the depths of your soul. And I mean, it damages people for life.
It does. I mean, there are people who are fundamentally different, right? Because of the words that people use about them or to them at these developmental phases or these experiential phases in their lives. Like, I don't know who said that sticks and stones thing, but they was off. They was wrong.
Yeah, and I used to repeat that as a kid. The sticks and stones may break my bones, but words would never hurt. Until you became an adult and understand words are so powerful.
And you knew it as a kid, but you just didn't think it was supposed to hurt that much. Be like, they do kind of sting though.
Yeah.
I didn't think I had a couple of 2 schoolyard fights behind just some words before a stick or a stone was thrown.
I'm glad that your life done changed.
Won't he do it? Amen.
I'm glad to.
I'm glad to.
Yeah, and there's another word that we probably just toss around, alcoholic, right? And so instead of saying alcoholic, you could say something like person who misuses alcohol or engages in unhealthy, hazardous alcohol use.
Yeah. So there is this whole idea, right? Because some people, and maybe some people who identify themselves as an alcoholic, right? Maybe it is a person who has an alcohol use disorder. If you ask them, how would you refer to yourself? They may call themselves an alcoholic, right? And so it falls into this phenomenon known as linguistic reclamation.
Talk to me about that. So, that's a big word.
Yeah, linguistic. That was a $14 word for you right there.
Here's some change.
Yeah. So linguistic reclamation simply means that people who are harmed by a term, or when a term is weaponized against a certain demographic, that demographic intentionally takes hold of the word and uses it themselves and takes the power away from it, right? It takes that sting, like that sticks and stones thing. It takes the sting by normalizing the use of the word. So for instance, LGBTQ, the Q, right? In LGBTQ, if you ask some people, they would say the Q stands for questioning. But if you ask many other folks, particularly millennials, they will say the Q stands for queer. But many older folks would never use the word queer because in their life experience, that was a derogatory term.
Right.
But young millennials have used linguistic reclamation to take back that term, to use it themselves, to retool the definition and how it's used and take the sting out of it. So when other people throw it at them, be like, I don't mean that to me. We already use that word on ourselves.
Yeah, I was listening. One of my favorite podcasts out there to listen to is one called Ear Hustle, and it's about individuals who are in San Quentin, and
they're in San Quentin now doing a podcast.
Yeah.
Wow.
They get the opportunity to do podcasts.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and it's broadcast through many of the prison systems throughout California, and one of the terms, so they don't use the term prisoner.
Oh, okay.
They use the term incarcerated individual.
Okay.
And that was something that I learned. Yeah.
It's accurate.
Right. And so, I mean,
I would love to hear why they made that switch.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I just happened to catch it on the ride on Sunday. But, I mean, it's the way the words, some of these words sound so beat down that it never gets the person time to try to recover in some type of way. You know, the individual who, what the term we would use to say alcoholic, like that's been such a beat down type of word.
It's so derogatory.
And so now, you know, we have a different way to be able to look at the way that we can you know, say something about someone's addiction.
Yeah, you know, I wonder if in the instance of the incarcerated person and the prisoner, are they exchanging those terms because the prisoner, and this is just me pontificating, right? There's a word for you, pontificating.
Okay.
The word prisoner seems to be an auditory reminder that they belong to someone else, or they're property of, or their child. You know what I mean? Like there is this auditory dog whistle that happens when you call someone a prisoner, as opposed to saying, no, I'm an individual, I'm just incarcerated.
Right. It just, like you say, it takes the sting out of it. It takes the sting out of it.
Yeah. Wow. So very interesting. And you know, above that, besides their, you know, the phenomenon of linguistic reclamation, there's just this whole idea of lingo, right? And whole generations having a whole different set of lingo. And so anybody that has a teen, has talked to a teen, has ear hustled on a teen conversation, you will quickly realize that there are some things and some words that they say, and you are like, what in the whole world are they talking about? So we're going to demystify some of those terms for you, right? So here's one. Extra. When someone is being extra. Now look, when I tell you what this is, I'm going to need you to behave yourself.
Okay.
So,
are you looking in the mirror when you use that?
I
was just checking. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Please.
So extra means that the person is just unnecessarily over the top, just exorbitantly dramatic, right? And so an example could be, she celebrated her birthday for the entire month. She is so extra. Really?
Was that your normal tone, or was that the extra? Which I couldn't
really
tell whether you were acting.
I'm going to the next word.
Okay.
So the next word, period. So the word period with a T, period. Right? So this is a slang word.
Shut it all down.
And it is really meant to emphasize that that's it, that's all. There is no comma. There is no more conversation after this. I said what I said. I'm done. Period. Right?
Okay, but like, so is that like talk to the hand?
Well,
or like,
if it is like talk to the hand if you're 63 years old. It is. So, yeah.
Well, happy birthday to you. I didn't know today was your...
It's not. I heard my grandmother told me about that term.
Oh.
Did you use talk to the hand?
No.
I think you did.
That's not my cup of tea.
I think you did. So, yeah, period, right? So, in a situation, if you don't want to hear anything else about it, I said what I said, I'm doing whatever, period. Or, if you're making a statement about something and don't argue with me, argue with somebody else, this is it. Like, this is the best movie ever, period. Don't tell me no other movies. That's it.
So it would be like translation, that's the bomb?
I don't know.
That's the bomb, you know, like that's the best thing ever.
Is this another one of those 1943 euphemisms?
I'm just the words that you're saying. I'm just doing some comparison of some '90s, type of terminology.
The bone. Well, I mean, I guess in some instances it could be.
Yeah.
Well, okay. How about Snatch? Let me see. You dig in your archives. Go in your crates on this, right? So snatched could mean that somebody is just flawless. They are just put together. They are wearing something that's fashionable. They got on the right shoes, the right accessories, the hair, the makeup, guys, girls, whatever. You are just snatched. Or it could mean that you were having an exchange with somebody and they got you all the way together. Like if somebody had to kind of rate the exchange, they would say, oh no, you got snatched. They got you all the way. They won that argument. So snatched, either you are just all the way put together. You are fashionable. You got it going on. Or, yeah, no, you didn't win that argument. You got snatched.
Ouch.
Yeah. So that's that.
So would that be like one you said earlier about the fashion, like bling, like man, you blinging it out?
No.
All that bling.
No, because you can be snatched. Bling means you have on something shiny.
Oh, I thought bling mean like you hip and you dressed out.
That's what you thought?
It's been a while.
Clearly.
Yeah.
That's not what bling means. It's not at all. Like, okay, so I'm going to use one of the now terms for what you just said.
Okay.
Big yikes. Not just yikes. Did he just say that? But big yikes, like, that's much larger than it's just a regular yikes. Like, it's a big
that
yikes.
Before.
Like, big yikes.
Is that like booyah? Like...
No. It is not. No. It is nothing like booyah.
Hey, it ain't gotta be, I'm sorry. I'm trying to reflect back to the 90s and the terminologies that was used just to compare.
There just isn't congruence sometimes.
Okay.
Like, what? Booyah.
So in other words, people don't use these terms pretty much anymore.
No. Well, it depends. Maybe if you were at the senior home during a dominoes tournament or something. I don't know. But you probably won't hear that.
Okay.
Anyway, so another term, my son says this all the time. And when he first started saying it, I was like, what are you talking about? No cap. So if you're talking to a teenager and they say, Ma, I just got an A in school, no cap.
No cap, okay.
Yeah. What does that mean?
I'm a lean on you.
That means that they're telling the truth, like a serious, true story. Like that's what we used to say back in the day. True story. Okay, seriously.
No cap.
No cap. Or conversely, if someone is telling you something and you don't think that they're being completely honest or transparent, you could be like, that's cap. No, I don't believe you. That's cap. I don't believe you. It's a lie.
Cap. No cap. Okay. That's interesting. That's interesting stuff.
Wow.
It looked different from, what we used to use back in the day.
Yeah.
Like we were trying to, dance or something, like we get crunk.
Uh-huh.
Get crunk. Get crunk.
Did you get crunk? The way you said that tells me that you got crunk a lot.
Nah, don't be getting crunk. Don't be getting crunk.
Do you currently crunk?
Nah, don't currently.
Are you cranked out?
Look. Here's one. Whatever.
Oh, that one was hilarious. That was excellent. But okay, so those were teen terms, right? Let's talk about defining some of the most popular words of 2020, because there were some words that came into play in 2020 that I think people hear them and they can kind of get some context clues and kind of figure out what they mean, but they may not necessarily really know what they mean. So, number one word, popular word of 2020, Karen.
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 Oh,
yeah, Karen, right? So this is a little bit controversial, but essentially, Karen is a person, or it refers to someone who treats others in an entitled and condescending manner, going out of their way to complain about the smallest, most unimportant things, right? And this has really been driven by so many instances of quote unquote Karens being involved in incidents where you're trying to call out folks for normal activity, but and many times these things are racially charged. So this idea of a Karen, and it started, I think the start was when there were a couple of black folks having a simple barbecue in a park, and there was a white woman who called the police on them for whatever reason. Yes. She just didn't think they should be able to have a barbecue in the park. And so, and then there was a chain of events in other instances. And so Karen became one of the most popular words of 2020. So, you know what another one is?
What's that?
Zoom. Everybody calls everything Zoom. Whether you're on Teams, whether you're on
Zoom. What we won't go there.
So everything is all right. Let's Zoom, but you may not necessarily be using the Zoom platform. Right. It's kind of like Xerox. Like, go make me a Xerox.
Right.
Well, Xerox was the name of the company. It wasn't necessary. It became synonymous with make me a copy. And so Zoom,
pretty darn big brand.
I'm telling you,
keep your name in people's heads.
It has emerged as one of the most popular words in 2020. People use it for all kinds of stuff. Another popular word that, and I'll tell you, I never really heard this too much before 2020, social distance. I had never heard this thing of social distance.
I wonder who came up with it, because it's really not social distance.
To be distanced.
But it's more physical distance. That's what we want us to be.
Oh, that's pretty deep. Look at you.
Every
now and again.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
That's pretty. Yeah, it's the physical distance. I guess they mean in social settings, distance yourself.
Right. So
physically. Yeah. That's a lot to say all the time. So 2020, one of the most popular words or phrases. Social distance. Oh, another one.
What's that?
Remote. How many times have you used the word remote? Now, previously, when you talked about remote, you probably were talking about the thing to change the TV channel.
Well, that's what I was going to say. That's what I use. Has anybody seen the remote?
I knew that's where you were going. Well, remote has taken on a whole new life in 2020. One of the most popular words of 2020, as people were forced to adapt to a different way of working and interacting and interfacing. Like, we're doing this together, but not really. We are remote.
Yeah, and we got to be careful about the words that we use, because you just never know. And, sometimes people say, you maybe a little bit more sensitive about things.
Yeah.
But, people just care. People are more aware about things. And so you can't use some language that you used in the past and use it today now.
Yeah. So there's an actual name that made the list of most popular words for 2020.
Okay, what's up?
Cuomo. So really, they're talking about the New York State Governor, Andrew Cuomo, right? And all of the things he did to safeguard one of the largest cities in the world against the pandemic. And so when people say that you're doing a Cuomo, that means that you are just doing what you got to do. You're being outspoken, no holds barred. You're not taking nothing from nobody. You got an end game in mind. And so Cuomo began a proper name. This man's name started morphing and became one of the most popular words in 2020, being used in all kinds of different scenarios. I kind of like
that's one way to get your name in somebody's mouth.
Well, and I don't really think that's what he was trying to do. This man was just trying to fight a pandemic, but I don't think he's mad right about now. I don't think he's mad. And then, of course, the hated word, one of the most popular but also hated.
Quarantine.
Oh, quarantine.
Hey man, quarantine's a game changer, though.
I mean, the whole idea of self-isolation and hunkering down, we absolutely know that it's necessary. It is what, helped people survive this pandemic. But, it definitely became one of the most popular words, overused, always heard it. That and lockdown and pandemic. Like, our whole 2020 vocabulary seemed to be all of these words that send you into almost panic mode.
But I'm surprised that unprecedented is not up there, because that's the term that, man.
Well, everything was unprecedented in 2020.
Yeah.
Everything.
We got pandemic, then the snow and ice just threw us all for a loop.
It was that was unprecedented as well?
Yeah,
everything was unprecedented.
Yeah. Well, I found that I had a new threshold for cold, so I've gone from the 33, 35 range down to 27. So
27?
Yeah.
Like, you have an exact degree threshold?
Yeah.
Okay, so most people just say, I don't like to be cold.
I don't like to be cold.
But you have an exact degree threshold. So if it's 34, you're fine. But if it's 33...
There's a difference.
Wow.
There's a difference.
Okay, well.
There's a difference. Lots and lots of great words out here. And you're a lady with words.
I love words.
You have some pretty powerful words sometimes. And I just try to use my phonics skills and try to type that out. But God bless you with a great vocabulary. Use it wisely.
I love words.
Yeah.
I love words. But I will say that there are definitely words that we use out there that, and I've learned, that are offensive, and we didn't even know that they were offensive, right? So you want to hear one?
Yes.
Uppity. Have you ever heard someone say something or someone is uppity?
Yes.
So uppity, most people when they use it, they're trying to, describe someone who is acting, highbrow or is acting as if they feel like they're thinking that person may be thinking that they're better than other folks. But the word uppity really was a term that was used in the segregated South amongst white people when they were describing black people who didn't know their place. And when someone was labeled as uppity, many times there were tragic consequences that followed. And so if you were in a town and somehow the town sheriff or the mayor's wife or the mayor themselves or the store owner decided that you were uppity, then many times you found yourself having all kinds of difficulties. And so when we use that word kind of flippantly now, we really disregard that term in and of itself has gotten people killed.
Well, be careful with the words that you use out there. And we thank you for listening to Cosmetic,
where we are tackling topics and telling the truth.
Got to tell the truth.
Yes.
So while you're out there, y'all, subscribe and listen to us weekly.
And give us a review. We'd love to hear back from you.
Yeah, and as always,
be dynamic.
Be phenomenal.
Be cosmetic.